Good evening. Thank you for joining me here in this here Odeon car park. There's some gentlemen over to my right just about to walk past. I'm hoping they won't notice that I'm filming a review. Okay, so this evening's film was Love Lies Bleeding. This is the second film, and even as I say it's the second film, that is ludicrous. This is the second film by director Rose Glass, and Sweet Baby Jesus in the Manger, this woman is so talented, it's ridiculous. So she's a British writer-director. Her first film was 2020's Saint Maud, easily one of the most harrowing and distressing horror films I've seen in recent memory. And I watched quite a few horror films, let me tell you, but Saint Maud is something that stays with you for, well, years afterwards, because like I say, I'm pretty sure it came out in 2020, if not 2021, but either way, I have thought about it a lot in the intervening years. So that was her first film, and that was a ludicrous debut. It was so good and so unsettling and so scary, and the performance from Morpeth Clark in the lead was off the hook, right? So that's our first film. This is our second film. This is also absolutely superb. On the surface of it, very, very different to Saint Maud, but at the same time, there's a very strong vein of rose glassness running through both. So allow me to elaborate. Allow me to tell you a little bit about Love Lies Bleeding. This is a gritty, grimy crime thriller / queer love story with oiled muscles and a big 80s soundtrack, or a big soundtrack because it's actually set in the 80s. So, you know, back then it was just called music, not 80s music. It is raw and intense and thrilling and terrifying, and just, again, a film I know I'm going to think about for a long time to come. So it is the story. At its heart, it is about the love story between Lou, played by Kristen Stewart, and Jackie, played by Katie O'Brien. Kristen Stewart, I know very well. I mean, not personally, but I'm aware of her work. She's been knocking about for a while. Katie O'Brien, I did not know, although she's in The Mandalorian, and what else is she in? Oh, I've just looked her up, and she's in something else that I know I've seen, some big TV thing. So she's, like, I'm aware, but, like, not to the extent that I know Kristen Stewart's work. So Lou works in a gym. She lives in a small town. It never says where we are in the US. It never says when we are, although there's clues later on to the fact that it's probably about 1989. Wherever this small town is, it looks hot. I'm thinking maybe near the border of Mexico. And Lou's life is not really going anywhere. She works in the gym, she lives with her cat, and everything changes when Jackie rolls into town. Jackie is from Oklahoma, as she is on her way to Las Vegas for a bodybuilding competition, and she just turns Lou's world upside down. In fact, they both have a sort of major impact on each other, in that they fall in love and kind of the world burns around them, and their passion for each other is really intense. It's really palpable. The film doesn't hold back on any of its themes. So the love story element and the physical aspect of Jackie and Lou's relationship is really visceral. The violence is really intense. It looks hot a lot of the time in the film, and it looks grimy, and the town looks like somewhere you don't actually want to be, and even you get the feeling that even the people in it don't want to be there. Jackie gets a job at a local gun range, which is owned and operated by Lou's estranged father, also called Lou, played exquisitely by Ed Harris. Now, I love Ed Harris. He's been around forever. If I think of Ed Harris roles, the one that always pops straight into my head is The Rock, because it's my favourite action film of all time. And I still remember so vividly when I saw it for the first time. But he's just played so many different roles over his career. And in this, he is obviously a crime boss. He is a bad dude. Like, a really, to his core, he is not a good man. And he has this horrific long hair, probably about the same length as mine, but obviously because he's bald, I mean, it's glued on. It's glued on for the film. I mean, like, the character hasn't had hair glued on. He's just got long hair and a bald head. So it kind of gives me Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show vibes, only more sinister. So he's got this really long hair, and he runs a gun ranch, and he runs guns, and he's just clearly a bad dude. Also in his employ at the gun range is his son-in-law JJ, who is married to Lou Sr.'s other daughter Beth, played by Jenna Malone. Kind of, even though I saw Jenna Malone's name on the credits, I didn't pick up on the fact that she was playing Beth. And they have children, so, you know, her life is very different to that of her sister, who is single and queer and works in the gym and is a loner. And then Beth is married with children, but her husband JJ, played by Dave Franco, is a vile, abusive piece of shit. And he's clearly knocking her about. And you find out sort of later on, the only thing that's kept Lou in this hideous town for so long is because she loves her sister and she knows that she's at risk. But her sister is in that category of the battered wife who cannot see her way to leaving her husband, and it's really hard to watch. So on the one hand, their dad, Lou Sr., doesn't condone what his son-in-law does, but at the same time he's like, says to Lou, his daughter, well, we have to respect Beth's wishes. So just everything is corrupt, everything is infected, everything is grimy and wrong. And weirdly, the intense sort of love between Jackie and Lou is one of the purest things in the film, but even that gets corrupted. You know, Lou introduces Jackie to steroids. She starts applying with steroids so she can get in shape for a competition. And I will say, like, physically, Katie O'Brien's look is incredible, and she's obviously had to work really hard to get into the shape of a 1980s female bodybuilder. So yeah, she looks amazing. So yeah, even that lovely intense connection between these two women, so these two lost souls finding each other and finding love, there's also a corrupt element to that. There's a darkness to that. And as the film progresses and it gets more twisted and more intense, you start to see Rose Glass's horror chops come to the surface, because there are actually some scenes in it that are, again, quite Saint Maud-esque and are unsettling and creepy. And there's a little bit of body horror, which again sort of ties in with the fact that it's set in the 80s, so it made me think of sort of Cronenberg stuff. It made me think of things like The Fly. The soundtrack is incredible. It looks great. I mean, it doesn't. It looks grimy and horrible and hot and not somewhere I ever want to visit, but it feels authentic. It's not that view of the 80s where everything is very 80s. Even though it's the tail end of the 80s, this town is small and feels stuck in the past. So, you know, you've still got, it doesn't feel like that sort of everything's bang up to date. It's like, this is 1989 and everything is new 80s. It's jaded and faded, and the people are, it's really good. It's just shy of 2 hours. It's intense and gritty, and I've said gritty and grimy a lot, but that's like, I feel like I want to shower to get the film off me. Kristen Stewart is fantastic. Katie O'Brien's superb. Ed Harris, obviously amazing. Just everybody in it is putting in a top performance. The soundtrack's great. It looks incredible. It is dark and harrowing, and I will think about it for a very long time to come. Excellent, excellent work, Rose Glass. I salute you.